everybody. Welcome into the bottom part of the 4 o'clock hour on this Tuesday. This is the Digital Weather Desk powered by CenturyNext Bank. I'm Jared Floyd, and we continue to keep an eye on some changes in the forecast as we get into the latter part of this week and into the upcoming weekend. Still some question marks on how deeply the forecast is impacted for the early half of the weekend versus the latter half, and even into early next week. We'll kind of outline all of that in just a minute. A look at temperatures, I-20 moving smoothly at this hour. Your traffic cams, of course, courtesy of LADOTD. Temperatures are generally in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees at this hour. Not a big surprise. Another very warm afternoon. Low-level moisture back up and on the increase. So as we go through the next few days, we will continue to contend with cloud cover in the morning, but some sunshine peeking through during the afternoon hours. The rain chances stay fairly limited until we get into the weekend. Tomorrow, best chances will be in the western counties and parishes, and even then, I still think it's pretty isolated at best. Wind speeds across the area, again, quite breezy, generally in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. We've had some higher gusts at times in the 20 to even 30 mile an hour range, but overall, just a warm, breezy, spring-like afternoon across the area. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining in. And we will stay very spring-like until the cold front and upper-level storm system and all of the pieces kind of come together to bring us an unsettled pattern that starts this weekend. Generally fair weather cumulus field setting up across much of the Arklamis this afternoon, and as the sun starts to set a little bit on this Tuesday, expect the low-level moisture as the air becomes more saturated. It cools tonight. The low clouds will kind of ride in on the southerly winds, and we expect mostly cloudy skies through the overnight, and we'll kind of repeat that process over the next couple of days. Radar made possible by Brown's Roofing shows absolutely nothing in our area, at least. We'll continue to keep an eye out for some changes as we start to work the rain chances back in, at least in the short term, from Saturday through at least Monday. Futurecast, Carolyn says, Miss Norris says, love having the outside recess weather. I know that when I dropped my little one off at day school this morning, her eyes lit up when she heard that they were going outside. I love being outside, and I can't blame them. It's beautiful out there right now, and I hope the kiddos had a wonderful day. A look across the region. Again, Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 frontage road in Monroe. Shows winds back out of the south, and it sets the stage for a weak front to approach in response to an upper-level disturbance that kind of kicks to the northeast tomorrow. There will be a window of opportunity during the afternoon and early evening hours for maybe a stray shower or storm, mainly in the western counties and parishes. The Futurecast that you're seeing here doesn't really indicate that, but it's still an outlying possibility. Most of the storms start to kind of develop and ride closer to the upper-level disturbance, and that's going to be well to our north. As we go into late Wednesday night and early Thursday morning, most of the storms by sunrise Thursday are through the mid-Mississippi Valley. And then our trough kind of repositions and our frontal system stalls and retreats northward, and it sets the stage for more storms late Thursday, well to our northwest. Friday, storm potential starts to inch a little bit closer to our area, especially during the afternoon. The strong southerly winds and just a warm, humid day. Daytime highs will probably be in the mid-80s in many spots. That could allow for a stray afternoon thunderstorm. And then we'll have the front start to approach the area as we go toward the early parts of the day Saturday. I know that this line of thunderstorms looks fairly menacing, but the overall orientation of this front and the upper level components, or the lack thereof, really limits severe weather potential. This looks to be general showers and thunderstorms. There will probably be some isolated kind of conditional severe weather threat to go along with it. But it looks to be just generally rain and thunderstorms, and it will be impactful as we go into the upcoming weekend, especially for those with outdoor plans. The other big takeaway that I would say that is a noticeable change is that the boundary actually does look to move halfway or almost maybe all the way through the area, and that may draw an end to the rain at least briefly Sunday, maybe even into early next week before the main upper level system, that main upper low that stalled off to the southwest, moves through the region. So let's kind of try to make sense of things as we go through the next couple of days. And before we get into that, I'm going to have to make a quick little on-the-fly addition, because I'm going to draw on this, and I didn't add that. So you just saw me add that on the fly. All right, so as we go through the next couple of days and into the upcoming weekend, you'll watch this ridge of high pressure, which is already in the process of flattening out, which has continued to keep us warm and dry, that's going to flatten out as this first upper level disturbance kicks off to the north and east. Again, this is the one that will bring storm potential late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening across portions of the Ozarks and the Red River Valley and some of these areas here. And we'll get to the severe weather risks in just a minute. So as that moves off to the north and east, you can see this kind of strong streak of winds in the mid-levels of the atmosphere that goes along with it. And it's going to stretch out a cold front across, again, much of the central United States. Then this main disturbance just kind of leaves. Well, and the front's like, well, where are you going? And it just kind of just gets left there. And so that boundary is then the player for disturbance number two, to move into the region late Friday. And this one will probably help nudge the front back to the south and east. So as this front's kind of waffled across much of the central plain states and into the Ozarks and the Red River Valley and a lot of those areas through Thursday and Friday, that next disturbance will probably give the boundary a little bit of a nudge to the south and east. So with that, we start to see our rain chances increase. Now, the kicker with that is then we see all of the energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere split. That one disturbance that we were watching across the portions of the upper Midwest is now all the way over here. Meanwhile, this piece of energy in this upper low gets kind of closed and squeezed off and gets pushed back out to the southwest. So that's what I'm talking about right here. So now we've seen a split in the storm system, and that's going to leave our front just kind of, again, left in no man's land, strung out across much of the lower Mississippi Valley and the southeast. The big question is where that front will set up, because that provides the focus and the lift for the rainfall. So as we go through the weekend, there's not a whole lot in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We're not seeing a lot of extremely strong winds in our area or anything like that. But we continue with this essentially uninterrupted conveyor belt of moisture. Now, that a lot of that's getting funneled into the Red River Valley, getting scoured out before it moves into our area, but it's still running a lot of deep layered moisture along this stalled frontal boundary, which is again going to provide lift and kind of scour that out in terms of rainfall. So there's a lot of questions in terms of how much rain coverage we see Saturday as that upper disturbance pulls farther and farther away from our area and the front's just kind of left hanging. And then eventually we're going to have this upper low move east, and when it does, that's going to bring its own set of rain chances. So by the early parts of next week, you see these little weak disturbances in the upper level pattern. There's still a lot of leftover kind of trapped deep layered moisture in the atmosphere, so any weak little ripple or disturbance in the atmosphere is probably going to generate rainfall. And then eventually this upper low opens back up a little bit. Instead of being closed and slow moving in the atmosphere, it opens back up into a trough of low pressure, starts to move east. But when it does, it brings its own set of strong winds eastward and will likely bring another round of showers and storms by the middle parts of next week. So it's a pretty complex forecast. And there's a lot of moving pieces that lead to moving pieces. Your severe weather threats are always made possible by Allegiance Health Network. Most of our spots probably not going to see much of a severe weather threat tomorrow. This is for mainly tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. A brief opportunity for a rogue strong to severe storm to start in our far western counties and parishes, and then they'll likely move north or northeast and move out of our area. It's going to be a very brief window, and to be honest with you, I think that most of this activity probably stays out of our area. So while there is a very limited severe weather risk, the vast majority of us probably don't even see rain tomorrow. As we go into the day Thursday, the severe weather threat, as I mentioned, gets pushed well back as we have this new trough that's in the process of kind of splitting into two pieces. The stronger winds aloft are well to the west, so the severe weather threat is even west of the I-35 corridor. We're talking Kansas, the Texas-Oklahoma Panhandle, way out there. Not a problem for us. The severe weather threat for Friday is greatest along the I-35 corridor, Dallas-Fort Worth Metro, Red River Valley, stretching into portions of the Ozarks. But as that front starts to move south and east, it does bring the window of opportunity for a few strong storms closer to our area. But I still think the vast majority of our region is going to stay very limited in terms of its rain coverage and storm coverage. In fact, most of our rain chances are around 20% for Friday. Yeah, with the warm, humid conditions, a rogue strong storm probably isn't out of the realm of possibilities, but there's not a lot of focus or upper level guts or strength in this storm system to really fuel anything prolonged in our area. So, and then the Saturday severe weather threat there is no outlooked area for Saturday. There was one yesterday, but there isn't one for Saturday because, again, the predictability in that facet of the forecast is still pretty tough and pretty low. In terms of rainfall forecasts, this is the most recent national blend of models, and I think this is somewhat old data. We should be getting a new run here relatively soon. But it still paints a lot of our area in some 1 to 3 inch rain totals. The official rainfall forecast over the next 5 days, I've been showing you the last 7 days, but this is for the next 5 days. And a lot of the rain totals are lackluster. A lot of folks are going to look at these numbers and go, that's it. That's the forecast in terms, and this is again from the Weather Prediction Center, which does the same thing that the Storm Prediction Center does, except just for rain and snow and winter weather and all kinds of stuff like that. So, I think that these rain totals are something that I think they appear fairly legitimate. There's going to obviously be the potential for some storm-driven heavier rains. And then the other thing to take away is there's going to be rain outside the 5-day time frame that's going to all get looped into this entire storm system when it's done. And I think it's fair to acknowledge that 5 days versus 7 days versus 10-day rain totals will clearly be vastly different across the region. Lows tonight will fall back into the mid-60s. The clouds will linger, but the rain chances should stay close to zero. Not out of the realm of possibilities to see some patchy fog develop overnight. Daytime highs tomorrow in the mid-80s. We stay warm. A spotty storm's not out of the realm of possibilities, but the best rain chances, the best chance for any storms, would be in the western counties and parishes as we go through the day. Homer, Magnolia, Camden, those folks probably have the best chance of seeing a storm as we go into the day tomorrow. Retha, good evening to you. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Shows the rain chances up to 70% for Saturday and Sunday. If you joined my midday stream and I told you how much I don't like the rain chances at 70%, but I think 80% is too high. I think 60% is probably too low. To be honest with you, I think 70% is maybe too high for some areas. And those rain chances do vary from location to location. They are lower on Saturday in the southeastern counties and parishes. Monday and Tuesday's rain chances probably are going to get, well, not necessarily, because that storm system may hold off until Wednesday. But the rain chances do increase for Tuesday night, Wednesday of next week. Again, we're talking day 7, day 8, long time from now. And in all fairness, we still have a lot of time to iron out the details regarding the Saturday, Sunday forecast. In all fairness to myself and to the weather forecasting community, I mean, it is still Tuesday. And so there's a lot of time to iron out the details and the specifics there. A quick little heads up, and for those that have been following along this week, they already know that this is going on. My wife comes back in town tomorrow evening after our live stream around this time tomorrow. I will be heading out, heading south to Galveston for a wedding of some dear friends of ours this weekend. So I will be out of the digital weather desk central, if you will, but I will have the mobile weather center. So I'll have my computer access. I'll have access to all these graphics, all this information. We have camera, microphone, all that stuff. So if we need to do live stream coverage or something like that for any kind of severe weather potential this weekend, we'll be available to do that, assuming that internet speeds are all going to be cooperative. But again, I don't expect this to really be a big severe weather thing. I think this is going to be rain. A lot of it's beneficial. But for those that are looking for this to be burn ban lifting and a drought busting rain, it may fall short of that. It probably will fall short of that. And so I don't want folks to be overly disappointed. I will, in full disclosure, this looked a lot more menacing in terms of rain totals and severe weather potential and all that stuff. It looked a lot more menacing about 3 days ago. And we've continued to see the models go, well, and then the storm system splitting into two pieces is kind of a new facet that's going to stretch the rain chances out over a longer period of time, but we lose the upper level support for severe weather, which is a good thing, blah, 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 blah. all that to say the forecast continues to change, and we just urge you to continue to stay up to date with the latest. Your Fish and Game forecast made possible by First South Farm Credit is out at 8 p.m. tonight. Your Tea Time forecast made possible by Frenchman's Bend tomorrow morning at 6. I'll join you with a live stream at some point tomorrow morning, hopefully early, assuming that the 22-month-old gremlin sleeps in like she did this morning. If not, then it'll probably be 9:30-ish, because I do have a visit with our Monroe branch of Century Next Bank tomorrow. So I look forward to visiting with them. So it's a packed Wednesday, but we're still going to have a look at the forecast early, midday, and then at some point in the afternoon, it will probably be relatively early as we get ready to kind of pack up and hit the road tomorrow night. Obviously, if we have storms in the area tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, we also have backup plans that the wife and kiddo will head down, and I'll just trail down in a separate car. We've got all of this stuff kind of, we've entertained, I think, every possible scenario we could think of and prepared for every possible scenario that we can think of. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. Links to download are at digitalweatherdesk.com. And like I said, I'll see you in the morning. Thanks so much for stopping by and making this part of your day. And we'll catch you on the flippity flop. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.